Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So we have a lot of stuff to go over. We have an ice storm, several winter storms, and just a lot of snow for the Northeast, the Midwest, even the Southern Plains, the Northwest. So we're going to start talking about that. If you guys would like to support this channel, you can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And you could also hit the thumbs up button. That helps out a lot. Since we have so many threats and concerns, if you guys would like to leave a comment regarding a city, a state, and a certain timeline, I'll do my best to answer it. Okay, so let's start off by looking at the interactive radar of the United States and portions of southern Canada. Notice that what we have right now is an area of snow across the mid-Atlantic, kind of pushing into the northeast, exiting from the Midwest, and obviously the ice. We see this system moving from the Midwest. That's where it kind of originated from. Notice very light snow that happened across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, into Iowa. And we did have a area of very intense precipitation that had more support from the kind of the Gulf, I should say, the ocean, not quite literally, but definitely closer to a moisture reservoir. And you can see that that snowfall was rather heavy. And we'll look at some of the snowfall amounts. You can see that this wasn't falling for a long period of time. I mean, look at Cincinnati. It started at around 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, so 3 o'clock Eastern Time, and really ended about 2 to 3 hours later. And it's still some light snow showers, but some locations picked up a 3 inches in that time frame. Notice to the north, obviously, the light snow is continuing, but it's much lighter, and it's not really as supported. But it's still accumulating as it's very fluffy and light. And obviously, this is moving now into, say, Pittsburgh, right, into eastern Pennsylvania. You've been getting a lot of snow, just little snow chances. As really Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Iowa, into Missouri has been kind of seeing the same, especially northern Missouri, I should say. A lot of these small little disturbances, not really a single one of them being huge or massive, but we could see that change as we could start seeing some larger systems. Notice, obviously, the biggest area of concern is this ice, right? This is some sleet to the north, mainly some freezing rain, and this could actually stagnate. You can see that it's what it does is kind of stall out, I should say, is probably a better word. Notice across Kentucky into extreme southern Indiana, we do have that ice going on. And while there could be some pretty large amounts, it does not look to be devastating or destructive. I said that yesterday, and I still think that's the same threat for, same category for today. Some people were letting me know, they're like, how is this not destructive? This thing is going to drop up to an inch of ice. That's not true. It's not going to drop up to an inch of ice. There could be several locations that get over a quarter of an inch, which is rather impressive and could still do a lot of damage. It's just not destructive. You're not going to have a whole trees collapsing over the whole wide state of northern Kentucky. There will be outages, there will be slick roads, and probably hazardous travel, almost impossible travel. That does not make it a destructive storm. That word should not be used too liberally, as it is a pretty strong connotation of a strong system. And this thing, while yes, the ice is dangerous, it won't be something of unseen levels. Okay, so regardless, that shouldn't diminish the point that this thing is, dangerous. Notice you do have thunderstorms and rain to the south across Texas, Louisiana, right? It is getting towards that time of the year where these will start becoming more potent, more strong as we push into the spring. The waters are a bit cooler, so that's probably going to keep the severe weather down throughout February and March. At least that's what most predictions are kind of hinting at. Total snowfall amounts, notice that we do have, again, you can see some locations getting over 3 inches right there in Hebron, Kentucky. To the north, again, lighter snow, but there were some locations getting 1 to 2 inches. And again, we'll probably see up to maybe 4 inches somewhere across this area once the full reports come in. The Northeast yesterday did get some snow. It wasn't a blockbuster event again. No one was predicting that, or at least I wasn't. And notice that there was some light to moderate snowfall amounts getting towards the 5-inch range. And then today it will be more towards the south into Philadelphia, Trenton, Harrisburg, Dover, mainly north of Washington, though you will pick up a bit of snow. All right, let's start tracking this. European model, I think, is the best model in terms of its overall performance. Notice that we have right now. That is a pretty good representation. Actually, this is more of what we have right now. You can see, again, the snowfall rates are pretty heavy, especially across southern Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh. towards northern West Virginia and southeastern Ohio. Notice that pushes off into New Jersey, right into Maryland, southern Pennsylvania, so Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Dover, picking up some snow into Washington, D.C. These amounts will not be anything close, especially across Philadelphia, compared to what you saw with the last event. But across the DC area, you may pick up a bit of snow, and the last few have been underperforming. This one may underperform, but it could also overperform and be more snow than the other ones, which were predicting to, which were supposed to drop much more amounts of snow. So something to watch for, but obviously the ice. You can see across Kentucky, Tennessee, into Arkansas, southern Illinois, West Virginia. The ice is there, and it does, it does occur for quite a while. While it's not too strong of precipitation rates, and there's a lot of showers, so this is kind of overdone. It's not going to be solid. As you saw in a radar, it's a lot of these showers you can see just passing by, so it will still be dangerous and something to watch for, but it should relatively quickly, in the scope of a destructive ice storm, move out quickly. And what I meant by that is it's not going to be a destructive ice storm. If it were to, this would have to probably occur for 24 to 36 hours. This ice, you can see, moves out of northern Kentucky by really tomorrow in the morning. It's already way out of there, and maybe even just out of southern Kentucky. Into northern Tennessee, maybe, say, Memphis picking up a bit of ice, really transitioning over to rain as that pushes out, and you can see a bit of snow potentially into Virginia, something to watch for. In terms of total snowfall out of this system, let's take a look at it. Total snowfall, 10-1. Notice that there could be quite a bit of snow in some isolated locations. It won't be a widespread 6-inch plus event, but where that pocket sets up of heavy snow, there could be a few locations that get maybe close to the double digits as indicated right here. Most likely, again, extreme southern central Pennsylvania into northern West Virginia, and maybe some northern tip of Virginia. But I wouldn't go as far to say, northern Virginia seeing heavy snow, because, some folks in extreme northern Virginia could see snow, but folks still in northern Virginia, just further to the south, may not pick up on much. So New York City, I would say 1 to 3 inches, probably closer to the 1-inch mark. Philadelphia, 2 to 5, probably closer towards the 4 to 5-inch mark. And notice across the west, Portland picks up some snow, and Seattle begins to as well. That is another thing we have to watch for, the big system across the northwest. For those folks wondering how much ice, I could show you a weather model. This one doesn't have the ice, so I'll just jump to the National Weather Service and show you how much they think will fall across the Kentucky area, which will probably be the hardest hit, just to show you that the area of advisories and storm warnings is pretty expansive, but though a lot of this, again, probably will be just light ice accumulations or assertions. I don't know exactly. Maybe that's how it's pronounced. Last time I mispronounced it, but regardless, those purple are for ice storm warnings, which obviously indicate a pretty hardest, probably next 24 to 36 hours. And notice you do have precip going on. A lot of large cities within this: Bowling Green, Elizabethtown, I think that's what it says, Campbellsville, Lexington, Frankfurt's in a winter storm warning, still probably some ice. And notice total ice accumulation, some amounts pushing into southern Indiana that could be reaching towards maybe a tenth of an inch, maybe a bit more, especially towards Louisville. And there are some pockets that could get over a quarter of an inch, though very, very few locations will get over half an inch, but it's not unlikely. The areas where they get over half an inch, that could be destructive potentially. Not going to exclude that, but as a whole, this ice storm won't be coined destructive. You can see that this is what they have. While that is definitely dangerous, it will be more of just a kind of storm that makes travel impossible, and power outages can be expected in Iceland. I would say not isolated, but probably not widespread. So, it's definitely something to be still concerned for. Nonetheless, I'm not trying to diminish this, except I'm trying to say this isn't going to be destructive. I've seen some people put out, destructive ice storm. It's not. Don't make people panic. That's probably even worse. But you can see that this is the timing. And if you live across Kentucky, look through that quickly, okay? Notice that into, say, Arkansas, right, into Mississippi, we do expect a bit of ice as well. And They're saying significant ice accumulations are expected across northeast Arkansas, and you can see that's what they have. Let's take a look at some of these amounts. Look at that. Memphis, a pretty large city under the ice storm warning. A tenth to 2/10 of an inch of ice. Another tenth or 2/10 of an inch of ice potentially on Thursday. So again, this is definitely something that we'll just have to be watchful for. Just because I said it's not going to be widespread destructive, your house may get a power, disconnection. And while that would be pretty bad, hopefully that doesn't happen. Notice that into Oklahoma, Texas, into Dallas, Fort Worth, there's winter weather advisories, mainly just for road conditions being potentially dangerous. There shouldn't really be power outages from areas that far to the south. And then up here we have winter storm warnings, but mainly for the snow, as you can see across extreme northern Missouri, Maryland, into Westminster, potentially up to 6 inches. You could see 3 to 5 tomorrow, maybe another half an inch of snow. Washington D.C. metropolitan area, folks living there up to 2 inches. So I would say 1 to 3 inches is possible, with a bit of ice not out of the question as well. Once that passes through, the pattern does not stop. We obviously see very cold air, pretty miserable across the northern plains and across the west. For those folks that live across the west, Portland, you are under a winter storm warning. Yes, you are under a winter storm warning. Let's take a look at your area. And there are some pretty good amounts of snow that you could expect. You can see right there, they have 2 to 6 inches. There's a bit of uncertainty, and indicated by those question marks, they're going to answer that, and they do a pretty good job of showing that. Let's take a look at this. So today, any snow that you see tonight won't be because of the winter storm, it won't be under the winter storm warning kind of timeline, but it will all be part of the same storm. Notice less than 1 inch Thursday night 1 to 3, Friday around 1 inch, Friday night 3 to 5. So potentially a big one, the biggest one you've seen in several years. Probably since 2016. I think that's the last time there was a big system, right? And across Seattle, your potential does come, just not with this storm, or not as significant. You can pick up a bit of snow, just maybe not 3 to 4 inches widespread. But look at that. Friday night 2 to 4, Saturday 1 to 2. Again, details still to be ironed out. Okay, that's what we have going on right now. And the European, you can see, indicates that that's snow. This is snow, not ice. A bit of snow across the Great Lakes, Chicago into Milwaukee, Green Bay, picking up some very light snow accumulations. And look at the Northwest. The European with this first system puts out quite a bit of snow all the way through Sunday. It has Seattle up to a foot of snow, which probably is on the higher side. And the National Weather Service will obviously have to iron those things out. But if you're watching this and you're wondering what I could tell you about the Northwest, what I could say confidently is what I could confidently say is that snow is coming, and it may not be up to a foot, but the possibility is definitely there. And stay tuned to stay tuned to the National Weather Service, and you could check in on my videos and see for any updates. As of now, Portland, you have the bigger threat. Seattle, probably a bit further on down the line into the weekend. And anywhere else in the states of Washington and Oregon, pretty heavy snow, maybe excluding southeastern Oregon and the coastal areas of Oregon. But anywhere else, even Idaho, Nevada, pretty good amounts of snow. Now, I do want to show you that beyond these two imminent threats, we do have more winter weather. So right here's our system, the ice storm, that is still going on, really pushing away as we see that monster moisture-loaded northwest system across Washington, Oregon, into Northern California. Notice that obviously passes through. Pretty saturated moisture for the mountains coming. And definitely some pretty good snowfall amounts possible for, say, even the Yellowstone area, Wyoming, the Grand Tetons into northern Utah, probably the Salt Lake. And look at that. We do see a bit of that snow kind of spreading into the Midwest. Again, for now, little bouts and periods of light snow. Nothing too heavy, but with this polar vortex centered right there, a lot of this air here is very cold, so any snow that falls is fluffy. It's just absolutely powder, and that could accumulate pretty quickly, even with the little amounts of precip. Notice we do see the continued snow threat through Nebraska, Des Moines, Illinois. So through this weekend, probably a few inches, and then as that system moves in, from the south, you could collect a bit more moisture from that northwestern system. That is the remnants of that one across the mountains. Notice that the system from the ice storm, right? It kind of produces rain for the south and sticks around for a while, but it does eventually lift off to the north. Doesn't look like it's to be a nor'easter, but it could definitely drop a bit of snow and provide a bit of lake effect for the lakes. Just maybe more on the eastern side this time, or sorry, the western side. Look at that. This is a system that could drop more snow into Seattle versus Portland, but that goes through the mountains. You can see it doesn't really weaken. 996 millibars, pretty strong. While we have this storm going on here, we have another one, widespread snow across Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and into northern Arizona and New Mexico. This spills through, and this is where things get interesting for the southern United States. And now I have folks across the south watching this. Look at that, digging well into potentially northern Mexico, the border, crossing the border by a few miles at least. So that, that's rather uncalled for, especially already at this time of the year, where probably spring should be coming soon. Instead of winter throws a punch. Look at that Dallas-Fort Worth area under heavy snow according to this model and around the Monday time frame. So again, not that far out. It's just that we have so many systems in between that it makes it seem pretty far out. But look at that, Oklahoma City, Arkansas, right? Southeastern Kansas, Missouri, into Illinois. You can see it dumps quite a bit of snow. It brings a lot of ice into Tennessee, and I would say this is potentially a bigger threat for ice than the one we have right now. But honestly, hopefully, I don't want to jinx that, either with the one we have going on right now or the one with this this potential one right here. And notice that this pushes this precip and snow to the north. This is just one model. This one centers the heavy snow across Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. There are some models that push the snow into Mississippi and Alabama, and into southeastern Tennessee, Kentucky. Quite a few, actually. After that, we're not done. We have another system potential dropping snow pretty far to the south, just maybe a bit further to the, well, really, to be honest, very similar outline of the storm, just maybe a bit less ice, which would be good news. In terms of total snowfall through the 10 to 15 day period of the European model, you could see pretty good amounts, especially across the south. That kind of pops out. The northwest as well, into the west and the northeast. Good amounts as well. My Canadian friends, quite a bit right here. Where the polar vortex is centered, mainly high and dry. Okay, that's the Canadian, that's the European. Let's take a look at the Canadian model. Again, we have that system in terms of snow. Obviously, the ice threat not represented by this. We have the snow threat across the northwest. What we start seeing is those little periods of snow across the Midwest, a bit of lake effect, nothing too significant, but you can see one on top of the other, nickel and dime, and we could pick up to 3, potentially some areas, up to 6 inches, especially if you were to add on the Cuchera, which would probably be more appropriate for the Midwest as it will be very cold. Especially right where this moisture is kind of originating from and just coming off the mountain, some higher amounts could be expected. North Platte potentially 4 to 7 inches by this weekend. Again, ice not shown by this, but look at that. We keep adding on these snowfall amounts. The northwest keeps seeing moisture. And here around this 100-hour timeline, come Monday into Sunday of the next week, or Monday of next week, Sunday of this week, depends on when you start your counting your new work week. You can see that's where southern United States starts picking up snow according to the Canadian. Pretty similar track, just even further to the south, potentially reaching maybe even Houston with this model. The Canadian, which is probably more of a southern extreme. And look at that, continued snow threats. I do want to show you the GFS model in terms of total snowfall. And let's turn on the Cuchera, as that will be more accurate. Regarding total snowfall, short range, find your location, choose your spot. This is a pretty good representation of what's to come. These may be a bit on a higher end, but I wouldn't say some 7-inch amounts, 6-inch amounts are unlikely. Notice it does show quite a bit for Portland, probably on a higher end of things, up to a foot right there, 1.5 feet. And in a longer range, centering across the southern plains, not much to the north as there's very cold air. But again, a lot of folks across the north will get your share, a fair share of snow as we push into the springtime as this cold air shifts to the north. And these storms will start tracking through. I do want to emphasize that. And again, there's our one system, there's a second one, actually a third one, and a bit more snow to the north you could see in a longer range adding on there. But look at these amounts right here, quite ridiculous, and especially centering quite a good amounts of snow into southern Canada, the GFS. Just to show you the model consistency run to run, it's been pretty consistent. Obviously there have been some details jumping around, but the trend of these large systems are pretty big, and look at that. Some of these amounts are rather incredible. Okay, I do want to quickly show you the RAP model, a high-res model that goes out to around 50 hours. I could show you the HER model, but that hasn't come out with its long-range model, which comes out in an hour. So this one probably will be better in terms of total snowfall. Let's take a look at this. Notice in the next hours, right? This is through tomorrow in the morning. Some light snow across the upper Midwest. Obviously, snow across the Mid-Atlantic. Many locations, according to this model, getting over 6 inches across West Virginia and Maryland. Again, probably the area that will get the most snow. This is now pushing into tomorrow towards the afternoon and into the overnight hours. This is now early Friday morning. You could see spreading into the Midwest some very light snow. Portland picking up some snowfall as well. And in out to 51 hours, this is now late Friday evening. You can see not bad amounts across Nebraska, South Dakota, and total amounts for the Northeast system / Mid-Atlantic storm, 6-7 inches according to this model, across Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, and amounts quickly tapering as you go towards the north or really the south, the northeast or northwest. There will be a bit of lake effect, and that could especially affect this little tooth of the Upper Peninsula. Could get up to a foot of additional snow. Okay, let's quickly take a look at the National Weather Service and what it thinks in terms of total snowfall for the next 30 hours. So this is what they're officially calling for in a model format. So it's a pretty cool option. Light snow, right? Pretty good amounts of snow. And then obviously this kind of pops out 5 to 6 inches widespread. Philadelphia 4 inches, Trenton 3 inches, Harrisburg 3 to 5 inches. Many locations here getting 6-7 inches. New York City 1 to 3 inches, probably closer to the 1 inch mark, especially as you go to the north. Notice we do start adding on amounts across the northwest and including the plains as we push into, look at this, Saturday morning and ending Saturday afternoon. Not bad amounts, especially you can see even towards the lakes, adding on some additional snowfall. That's what the National Weather Service thinks, and this is, if I were to look at the National Weather Service map, that's what they would call for. If I were to look at southern Pennsylvania, we would see those amounts are pretty similar right there. So it's a pretty good model graphic that I could show you the whole United States, and it shows the same amounts they have right here. You can see, and it updates rather frequently. Okay, regarding the ensembles, I do want to show you a few ensembles, right? So these are the GFS ensembles, and I do want to show you that these do show quite a bit of snow right now into the Midwest through this weekend, and you can see these large systems. So this is the Midwest, just to show you that it varies. Some models bring more snow to the north, some further to the south, some don't really bring much at all, but overall the trend for snow is there. And you could see final location Kansas, Nebraska, quite a bit of snow potentially with some of these models. Let's switch the region and go to Texas and south central United States, as that's where we could start picking up those very significant snow events. And you can see through around the 200, almost 300 hour mark, quite a bit of snow could fall. Some of the models push it way into Mississippi. Others keep it more limited in general. But generally, I would say Dallas has a pretty good chance of seeing that snow. Regarding, let's see, look at one more region here, the Great Lakes. Regarding the total snowfall, notice that the amounts vary quite a bit as well. Hold on, I did not want to look at Great Lakes. I wanted to look at the Mid-Atlantic. See, Mid-Atlantic United States. I do want to focus on this area as this is a more widespread view, and you can see it favors a lot of Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas with that very heavy snow. Something to watch for. Several systems, right? So we've had very small systems, ice storms up until now. These could be beasts in the longer range. Look at that. Pretty heavy snow. Many locations over a foot of snow across Missouri, Kentucky. They're favoring kind of the Ohio Valley for the jackpot of this snow. And the European ensembles are pretty consistent with that. The next 5 days snowfall, so that's before any of the giant ones here form. You can see that this is what they show. Some of them do show quite a bit of amounts of snow with this tonight system. And in the 5 to 10 day forecast, you can see that this is what they show. A lot of those systems occurring, though a lot of variance still going on. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.